Shabbat Shalom. When my children were little, and this time of year came around, they learned a song at a very young age, and it went like this. Oh, once there was a wicked, wicked man, and Haman was his name. Oh, he wanted to hurt all the Jews, though they were not to blame, sir. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be, and nash some hamintashen. So sweet. But at a very young age, they and so many Jewish children learned that Haman was a wicked man. And though it ends with joyously skipping around and eating triangle-shaped cookies, there's no denying that the beginning of that song is hard. And some versions of it, it's he wanted to kill all the Jews. But you sort of learned that version when you were a little older. They were very little, it was just hurt. But the truth is, Haman was a wicked man. And this, in many ways, is a Shabbat of a wicked man. We're reminded of King Agag, of the Amalekites, and our Torah portion is chosen to conclude with that famous section, remember what Amalek did to you when you were staggering, attacking the weak and the tired at the back of your already kind of weak and tired group. So if you were part of the ragtag band of slaves still fleeing Egypt, and you were considered weak and tired, you had to really be kind of worn out, even relatively speaking. So this is a Shabbat where we bring up painful memories. Yes, God willing, we'll be merry on Purim and nash some hamintashen. But this Shabbat, Shabbat of Zachor, points out several pretty wicked men. Psalms has something to say about wicked men. Psalm 10. Why, O God, do you stand aloof, heedless in times of trouble? The wicked in his arrogance hounds the lowly. May they be caught in the schemes they devise. The wicked crows about his unbridled lusts. The grasping man reviles and scorns the Lord. The wicked, arrogant as he is, in all his scheming thinks, God does not call to account. There is no God. The wicked man's ways prosper at all times. Your judgments are far beyond him, O God. He scorns all his foes. He thinks, I shall not be shaken. Through all time, I will never be in trouble. His mouth is full of oaths, deceit, and fraud. Mischief and evil are under his tongue. He lurks in outlying places. From a covert, he slays the innocent. His eyes spy out the hapless. He waits in a covert like a lion in his lair, waits to seize the lowly. He seizes the lowly as he pulls his net shut. He stoops, he crouches, and the hapless fall prey to his power. He thinks, God is not mindful. He hides his face. He never looks. Rise, O God. Rise, O God. Do not forget the lowly. Why should the wicked man scorn God, thinking you do not call to account? You do look. You take note of mischief and vexation. To requite is in your power. To you the hapless can entrust himself. You have ever been the orphan's help. Oh, break the power of the wicked and evil man, so that when you look for his wickedness, you will find it no more. God is king forever and ever. The nations will perish from his land. You will listen to the entreaty of the lowly, O God. You will make their hearts firm. You will incline your ear to champion the orphan and the downtrodden, that men who are of the earth will tyrannize no more. Psalm 10. You notice it has no attribution, as so many of the Psalms do. No introduction, it just jumps right in, as though the speaker couldn't even be bothered to sign his or her name, or maybe chose not to, because what he or she was saying was just so controversial, so disrespectful, perhaps, to whoever it was that this person was writing about. And maybe that's even more compelling. Who was this psalm written about? We shall never know. Likely it was written during the time of the kings, the Hebrew kings, of which most were wicked and sinful and corrupt and disobedient to the laws of Moses and God. So chances are this is in reference to some leader in the era of the kings with whom the psalmist was extremely disappointed and displeased. I asked Cantor Andy his impression of about whom this psalm might have been written, and I loved his answer. He said, "We will never know the wicked man that this psalm was written about, but maybe that's to the good. Maybe the subject of this psalm has been lost to history." A Shabbat of wicked men. And that's hard to bring into our Shabbat. So, to acknowledge that it's a line that we all walk a lot. I've had beloved congregants say, "Oh, Rabbi Shana, I need to come to Shabbat and just have a break from what's going on out there." And that's the way Shabbat is supposed to be. Over the next number of weeks, when it's appropriate, I'm going to share some passages from Abraham Joshua Heschel's iconic book, The Sabbath, Its Meaning for Modern Man. It's a transformative book. It's changed a lot of lives. He was such an extraordinary person, Rabbi Heschel. And his language in the 20th century, it's really unmatched. And he reminds that even though we have to read these portions because they are prescribed, and some communities do other things, but we almost always conform to the traditional conservative and Orthodox reading with, yes, the triennial, but with special readings like Zachor, remember this. And then when you get into the land, blot out the name of Amalek. Do not forget. That's what it says, that final line of the little maftir. Blot out the name of Amalek. Do not forget. So we're supposed to erase and also not forget. It's a conundrum. It probably means do not forget to blot out the name of Amalek when you get into the land, but the language is written in a wonderful cryptic way that we really get kind of dizzy from it. There are things we don't want to remember, but if we don't remember, we risk forgetting and being caught unawares, or napping, or vulnerable, or weak, or tired, like those at the end of the line. Rabbi Heschel speaks of the joy that is supposed to take place on Shabbat. He wrote, "The Sabbath must all be spent in charm, grace, peace, and great love. For on it," say some rabbis of the Talmud, "even the wicked in hell find peace." Our rabbis don't use the word hell that often, so they are really making a statement there. Even the wicked in hell can find peace on Shabbat. It is therefore a double sin to show anger on the Sabbath. You shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations on the Sabbath day, from Exodus 35:3, is interpreted to mean, you shall kindle no fire of controversy, nor the heat of anger. You shall kindle no fire, not even the fire of righteous indignation. It's a tall order and a wonderful way of reading that verse, which is not for a few more chapters, but this is supposed to be a place of peace, a day of peace. It's hard not to acknowledge the realities of our world, our country, our city, our homes. But at least on Shabbat, though we can read about these wicked men, the gentle rabbis imagine that though they may be consigned to some suffering in the afterlife, even they have some peace on Shabbat. How can we not allow ourselves the very same thing? May the psalmist's words that God will look at those who would plot to do evil and erase the evil so that men will not tyrannize one another anymore on the earth be a prayer that we can yet turn this all around. That singing about Haman and eating hamantashen will be the most joyous and sweet way that we can remember Purim. This is the Shabbat of remembering. Let us remember one another for good. Shabbat shalom.